Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2020. I'm Atlas, joined by LS for my personal final day here before we go on a brief hiatus before round 2 does kick off. And we got some big matches here today to conclude what will be my time with the LCK for round 1. SANDBOX versus Gen.G starting things off with Afrika versus T1 to follow. And going into this match, SANDBOX have changed things quite a lot.
Things up.
We don't want to necessarily give away the rosters, but Ashley Kang has already tweeted about it, so we can discuss it.
Okay.
And basically, SANDBOX have taken off 4 of their players and replaced them with different ones.
So
it is only OnFleek that's playing out of the roster that played last time.
Now, I really do wonder what could be the reasoning for this, because if you're SANDBOX, we're going to take a look at the standings, and I'll talk about why this is so peculiar. SANDBOX is currently 2-6 with -4 in the point column on a 2-game loss streak, and as we're moving into the second half of the split, every single game counts. Now, maybe they just think that, you know what, we're not going to beat Gen.G anyway with our main roster.
Yeah, so let's mix it up and try and
let's try to
play
get
with some different
stage
players.
experience or something of that nature. Now, the one potential complete curveball that could happen is they're going to do something super wonky. I don't think that it's likely, but not starting Summit, I think, is just an indicator that the towel is in the ring before Gen.G even arrived. I turn around, I see one center stage.
Yeah, no, in fact, it looks like the whole team has had a shower. It's just towels everywhere over
really
there.
Is, yeah.
I know you guys can't quite see it because we haven't panned over it just yet, but you might be able to see the towel rack that has been basically completely shed into the middle of the thing. Yes, I agree with you. I actually had a bit of a chat to Adid before this, and we both figure that this isn't a strategic choice. It is more of a mitigation choice. I know that in the Korean community, Summit has been copping a lot of flack for the performance of SANDBOX. Yeah, I think that they have been coming down pretty hard on our gentlemen of the top lane.
Is that what Wadded said?
Yeah, that's what has been going around as far as the Korean community.
We're not watching the same games, I guess. I don't.
Well, I mean, he has been tilting a lot.
He has tilted, but he's also been the only reason they often find themselves in winning situations. So
yeah,
that is like.
But I think it's the responsibility that lies on his shoulders to perform every game, because it honestly is on him whether they win or lose in most situations.
It's like the person's house is on fire and Summit's the firefighter, and he comes in and he's saving them, but then he trips down the stairs and they both get hurt, but they both live, and there's like,
well, no.
You fell.
What it seems like is that he comes in, saves everyone, but then they're really annoyed because he didn't save the family photos that were in like the back cupboard, you know?
All right.
And so we completely skipped over the points of the match. Hopefully you guys read them while they were on screen. Let's have a look at how good Gen.G are compared to how not so good SANDBOX are. Because that's a lot of firsts for Gen.G, and they have been playing spectacularly well.
Interestingly enough, SANDBOX is 3rd with a team goal difference at 15. And I just want to point out and say how ridiculous it is that you can be 3rd with only a 300 gold advantage. Well, things are pretty neck and neck here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we actually saw it yesterday. Even in the Kingzone series where they were pretty damn dominant, they still weren't getting gigantic leads until about the 20-25 minute mark. So it just shows that the early game has been pretty close throughout, and I think that has a lot more meta implications rather than just judging the teams, as we are going to jump into some of the highlights here. We're going to search for some SANDBOX highlights in this series against T1, which was a series of SANDBOX drafting relatively okay, and then just straight up not being able to win the games because they weren't good enough.
This was Summit on Soraka, and it was very interesting. Summit did take the sacrifice. He played the Soraka. the great escape.
Sacks.
Forrest Gump.
Oh my god.
Ended up giving the kill over to Faker.
That's our highlight. That's how far we had to dig.
As now at this point, I mean, they tried.
That was the highlight.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was the highlight right there.
Yeah, I think the Keck W's are certainly warranted at this point in time. As we're going to check out the Gen.G highlights, and this is going to be a much easier one. This was Ruler getting off to a pretty phenomenal start at the beginning of this game. And honestly, APK did not stand a chance. Remember, APK were actually able to win yesterday. They had pretty fantastic performance both in the draft and in the gameplay, so it was really good to see them performing against Harmwell Life, a team that did provide T1 with their only loss so far this season. Absolutely insane to think about. And it's the reason why Gen.G and T1 are tied at first place. Just shows that you need to be able to take down the teams beneath you in order to retain that top position. It should speak for itself, but this is an indication of exactly how important it is, because otherwise T1 would be way out in front right now.
The really peculiar thing about today is that Gen.G are probably just going to get a pretty quick 2-0, given that it's a complete roster swap for SANDBOX.
Yeah,
it's
and all the towels.
Right,
we need to go back to all the
that,
towels in the middle. Yeah, white towels as well.
In the middle of the stage right now. The graphics here blocking them out.
Yeah,
but
you can't quite see the towels, but they are there, I assure you.
You can see all the sand, though.
Yeah.
And you notice how it's trying to leave the arena.
Yeah, well, if you notice, it's not in the box.
It's not
even the sand doesn't want to be there anymore, let alone, you know, all the toys and the ability to make sand castles with your spades and stuff. They left a long time ago. It's no fun in that sandbox at this point in time. Maybe after the brief hiatus, we'll have a mental reset and we'll see a better side to SANDBOX, but right now, with the roster that they're fielding, we're not expecting too much from this team. Maybe, just maybe, there's going to be, you know, some surprise curveballs. I know Lonely has been playing a hell of a lot of Sylas at the moment, a few different picks towards the top lane, some Akali being in there. Fate is on a huge win streak in solo queue at the moment, 6 games in a row on Azir, and picking up wins in all of them, most of them with perfect KDAs, as I'm trying to talk up this roster, and LS is just looking at me with the stupidest grin right now.
6-game win streak.
Look, it's better than what Joker's been dealing with. My God, have you seen his solo queue record?
You really
got
me.
Yours.
You really.
TOS Monka W.
No.
Gen.G on the screen right now. It will be live debuting yet again. His, you know, he's played 3 games of Tahm Kench in a row, I believe, and he hasn't lost on one of them. And so Senator Tahm Kench is going to be certainly up there when it comes to the priority. Gen.G will be on our red side, so it is likely that they'll be going for the 2 picks of Senator Tahm Kench in a row. If Yuumi is locked in first, it will in fact be Senna Volibear, which we are always very excited to see.
Yes, and you know, I think that honestly, in my opinion, fasting Senna and just her flexibility, I think she's tier 0. And obviously with that, I mean, just God tier, basically.
Yep, the best.
The best.
S plus tier.
Yes.
You cannot score better than that in Sonic
really
Adventure
can.
2 battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there ever a rank above S?
No.
In anything?
Well, I mean, S plus in League of Legends is, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's the highest.
Yeah.
There should be a rank above it.
Really? Like G.
Like Z.
Whoa.
Yeah, Z tier.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's no alphabet after that. You definitely can't get better than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see where we're going with this?
Unless it's double Z, but then it sounds like you're falling asleep, which should be theoretically a low tier.
No, a low tier would be LS.
Ah, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Low standing.
Low standings.
Yeah.
Edgar on your screen right there. It looks like we're having a little bit of trouble getting into the ban and pick for game number 1. Might be, you know, Lonely's first time, struggled to join the lobby or something like that.
Well, they are. I mean, we're seeing it just on the camera that they're not even. They're at the search for game.
Yeah. Still trying to get in there. There's a joke to be made about not being able to get into a game with too much of a rank disparity, but we're not going to go into that right here. As SANDBOX, yeah, like we were talking about, completely different roster. We sort of glossed over it when we were talking about other things as the roster was on the screen, but Lonely, Fate, Root, and Joker will all be playing. Normally, of course, it is Summit, Dove, Leo, and Gorilla. And OnFleek, the only returning player for this match after their last series. So it just shows that, You play against T1, sometimes it's demoralizing, and honestly, it looked like that. From SANDBOX's perspective, after that last match, it was an utter blowout. You know, I was actually out to dinner during that series.
Okay.
And I checked in to, like, see how things were going, and I looked at the draft, and I'm like, oh, man, SANDBOX have a chance here. And then I tuned back in 20 minutes later, and it was over.
Yeah.
And I was like, what happened,
What happened?
guys? So I went back and watched the series, and I was like, oh, that's what happened.
Yep.
Not good news, unfortunately. And Gen.G tied with T1 on the in the rankings at the moment, and I think arguably performing better at this point in time. T1 are brilliant, but something in my waters is telling me that Gen.G are just a cut above. Partly to do with this gentleman on your screen right here. Ruler has been playing very, very well. His Ezreal popped completely off in their last series, doing more damage than the entire rest of his team combined, and almost more damage than the opposition team combined.
That is true. And I think that today it's probably going to be pretty smooth sailing for Gen.G. Probably a lot of freedom to deal lots of damage as well against the SANDBOX lineup. And we do see Summit in the back.
Aww.
This is like Mortal Kombat.
He's like practicing.
You know, is it Mocap? Is that his name?
Oh, maybe.
And all the way in the backstage, you see Mocap in the back.
He actually, you know, he looks relatively cool, calm, and collected. We couldn't load the game, unfortunately, and we are starting a new one. Doing our best to get in there. Do you know what we're doing? We're actually padding the timer so that we don't have to go to an hour and 45-minute break between these series.
That is what's going on. But also, they would want to give you no better send-off before the break than to have a couple of pauses.
Yeah, we need a bit of a
2 a.m. finish. Well,
I mean, I think, you know, the third episode of the Pog State only recently came out. Congratulations to the Pog State, by the way, trending number 3 in Australia.
Ooh.
And I believe number 6 in South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. Commonwealth Brothers right there representing. As I wanted to send a message. I haven't sent a message to Quickshot yet. Of course, being a South African himself, I like to say thank you on behalf of his brethren for tuning in to the Pog State. And I believe we're also trending pretty high up in Germany at the moment.
In Norway.
And Norway, yeah.
Norway, yeah. The European audience.
Shout out to our Norwegians in the chat. As here we go, ban and pick is finally upon us. As we'll see what SANDBOX has in store for us and what Gen.G are going to be gracing us with in this particular match. I believe SANDBOX will need to... Oh, they're going to ban Azir themselves.
Ooh, fast bans. Here we go.
Ornn going to be banned instantly. Like it. Never against an Ornn ban. As LeBlanc going to leave the Rift as well. Surprise, surprise. BDD has 100% win rate with the LeBlanc.
Yep. We can't all be tempted. Dragging down the LeBlanc win rate there.
Yeah.
That is an unfortunate... Oh, by the way, I did get an answer.
Yeah, okay.
From the Riot Balance team guy.
Okay, yeah.
Whose name I won't...
This is the message that you sent yesterday mid-broadcast?
Yes,
good.
I got a reply to it in the wee hours of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So if LeBlanc continues to have 95% pick or ban presence until Monday Pacific time, she will get nerfed.
Was it over all regions or just in the LCK? Oh, in any one region, if she is that powerful, it will lead to a ban. Wow.
So now this creates a really interesting thing. Can pro teams join together like a band of brothers?
Is it Zoe J4?
Consistently ban.
Or Zoe Ezreal. Zoe Yumi. I like
One champion. Now remember, we might have Team Rocket. We have Jesse and Meowth locked in for Gen.G.
Yeah,
Will we get James?
Oh, yeah, we need James. So Ezreal is James. For you guys who weren't playing the game yesterday, we want to thank the collective for giving their insight into the naming convention of Zoe and Ezreal. And Team Rocket was blasting off again, honestly. It was some perfect naming. Loved it. As OnFleek's going to lock away his Lee Sin. Sinning as usual on the SANDBOX side of things. The SANDBOX, they better pick away... Oh, wait, they can't pick away the Ezreal. And I was expecting them to pick away Jarvan. They are instead going to look to ban one of either the Ezreal or the Jarvan, depending on which is going to be picked up here. But also, there's an Olaf. So Clid could just lock in Olaf for the Olaf-Yumi combo, which is very powerful. They have a bevy of
there
good choices
Team
here.
Rocket.
As Team Rocket does come through, that is the full collection. Meowth is there also, and Meowth, that's right. We weren't able to say that part of the intro song, as thankfully Gen.G have completed the set. Well, not
I guess we could just go next at this point.
I think we're done, aren't we?
I think you can sort of add on to Team Rocket here. You could probably find Giovanni. That's like Mafia Graves.
Yeah, there we go.
In the jungle.
Oh, perfect.
That would possibly be a pickup. I don't know anyone else though.
I don't. My Team Rocket memory from the original series is certainly pretty low. What would a grunt be? What would be like just a random Team Rocket grunt?
A random Team Rocket grunt.
Needs to be wearing, I don't know. I don't even know. It's a little bit too generic, isn't it?
You could have that like purple-looking Azir and call it Mewtwo. Ooh, from the movie, right? But
yeah, that's true.
He'd have to go top lane.
And he'd also have to not be banned.
Yeah.
Which is an issue, as we're banning just some coverage bans here on Gen.G's side. Syndra for a better time for B2D in the mid lane, and Aatrox just to get rid of it from Lonely's champion pool. There's the Jarvan and Olaf bans. Both of them would have been great picks for Gen.G, and I do like those bans from SANDBOX. But Clid still has a million options to go towards right here. Likely that we're going to be counter-picking for Rascal, as that is going to be Rek'Sai, considered for the moment.
And so Rek'Sai's coming in strictly just in a vacuum for early game potency. Yep. And with the Zoe Ezreal and the Yuumi, all that you need to really do is have a pretty immovable wall as your front line. We saw it yesterday even, Ezreal and Zoe, able to just do so much and carry to victory. As long as there is enough stuff for the enemy team to have to try to cut through and not really get onto them. So SANDBOX with Rumble and MF, now, the interesting thing is they're choosing Rumble against such a extremely mobile team that is able to reposition so easily inside of a team fight. Just really doesn't strike me as something that makes a whole lot of sense. Karma being hovered right now. Now this is still patch 10.4, so this can be Spell Thief Karma.
Ooh, and Volibear is going to happen instead though.
Okay, that's going to be Nautilus in the mid lane, I believe, with Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble top.
Into the top lane.
Still swappable, I guess, based on what the top lane matchup is going to be, but now Rascal with a pretty easy counter pick right here. We'll see what he's going to be able to collect, and it is going to be Aurelia up against either the Rumble or the Nautilus. You sent me a quizzical look right there. How are you feeling about this Aurelia pick?
The Aurelia is very peculiar. Atlas, it is extremely bizarre. So, you choose the Aurelia into a Rumble, a Lee Sin that has to come into you, a Volibear that has Disruption, as well as a Nautilus. And it's just not the kind of tanky frontliner that you would really expect nor want. You already have so much damage inside of the Ezreal and the Zoe, paired with the Yuumi. Now, obviously, Yuumi able to synergize a bit with the Aurelia as well. But if we're looking for a champion that's probably fantastic here at being a frontline and doing everything that you really need, it would just be Mundo. They have double AP, they have extremely limited amounts of CC, and Mundo already has so much tenacity. It's not a very common pick, probably not one that many people would be expecting to hear. But I think it would serve an infinitely better purpose.
Well, speaking of serving an infinitely better purpose, let's stop talking about the game. We have the full Team Rocket lineup here on Gen.G's side. And so in order to get into this match, would you like to be Jesse or James?
I'll take James.
All right. So I'll start this one off. It will be as we're loading in. As you can see, Aurelia, Rek'Sai, Zoe, Ezreal, and Yuumi. Those last three will, in fact, be our Team Rocket trio, joined with some split push potential in the top side of the map on behalf of the Aurelia, and then a little bit of scouting potential with the burrowed version of Rek'Sai. The Tremor Sense is there. And so here we go. Due to Team Rocket being here in the game, prepare for trouble.
Make it double.
To protect the world from devastation.
To unite all peoples within our nation.
To denounce the evils of truth and love.
To extend our reach to the stars above.
Jesse!
James!
Team Rocket blast off at the speed of light.
Surrender now or prepare to fight.
And both of us,
Meow,
that's right. Beautiful. And now we have a pause because it was so good. We're going to just hop immediately out of the game.
Yeah.
And Ruler has an issue. He's got some lag issues. I think it's because of too much Team Rocket blasting off.
Oh, I thought they were about to come over and give us an award.
Yeah, or maybe they just decided not to play this game. They're like, we won the draft too much. We may as well just walk off with a win. No, that's not true.
It was so good they had to pause.
Yeah, they just needed
they
to
looked
absorb
around
it. Yeah.
And they said, who just did that? Oh, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the scrolling text from Star Wars last week, and now we've got the Team Rocket motto, which now, like, every time, and when Valdez is here as well, every time we get Ezreal, Yuumi, Zoe, it needs to be read before the broadcast. Every single time.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we're just hoping that Ruler's lag issue is going to be fixed up. Root there, you can see, ready to try and go up against this difficult bottom lane to contend with, not only with the nameplates on, but with the nameplates off as well. I mean, Ezreal Yuumi is a powerful combo, and Volibear doesn't offer too much presence in the lane outside of being able to lock down a Yuumi in a gank scenario. So look to see whether OnFleek can really get around this map early, and he's on a Lee Sin. I mean, we're sinning real hard on this sandbox composition.
We're all sinners, Atlas.
I mean, even Rumble, Nautilus, I mean, they're not going to get much better after 2 items. And MF will scale, but she can't scale by herself, you know? So this composition does need to get all their work done throughout the mid-game, which is a time where Gen.G's composition also spikes, which is why we look at Gen.G's comp and think, is there a way that they're going to lose this one? As you can see, OnFleek just meditating, trying to come to terms with what he's up against here in this particular match, or savoring his energy for the fight ahead.
The thing is that Gen.G, even if they do fall behind, they have so much insurance inside of the Yuumi, Ezreal, and Zoe.
He actually did legitimately look like Resident Sleeper face, by the way. like OnFleek was actually doing the Resident Sleeper face. Thanks to the collective for absolutely recognizing that and now just filling up the chat with Resident Sleepers.
All right, well.
Still trying to figure it out. As you can see, Ruler having some help by the techs to get everything back in order. We've got gloves and masks, of course. Remember, guys, coronavirus is still a big deal. Unfortunately, today, I found out travel bans from South Korea to Australia.
What?
Yeah. You can no longer travel, or Italy, I think, was the announcement on the news. Wait a minute.
What does this mean for eGym?
So you can travel from Australia, but you can't go to Australia unless you're an Australian citizen. So I think I can. I'm not 100% about this.
I'm sure your embassy could.
Yeah. So if you are a citizen, you can always go back to your country. I'm pretty sure it's much like the North American rule as well.
Right. So there's probably very limited transport available.
Yeah.
In terms of or you might not actually even be able to directly go there. I would imagine you'd have. So when I was actually planning to potentially go back to the States during the break that we're going to have here at the LCK, one of the fears is that what happens if America doesn't allow me back into South Korea, and then eGym's the one doing the full color weeks.
And you know, it's like actually crazy because we might have the most intense weeks ever when we get back into it, right? Like,
yeah, that is...
we don't know how long this hiatus is going to be, and maybe we need to pack, like, I don't know, we'll do 4 best-of-3s a day for 7 days a week for, like, 3 weeks or something like that. Like, who knows what's going to happen in order to get all of the games done.
Change it to best-of-1?
There is... I absolutely hope that that is not the case. I think that that might be a worst-case scenario. I know nothing has been confirmed as of yet. But if it's best-of-1 for the second round robin, I'm going to be extremely sad. Because we already know that if it was a best-of-1, the standings would look very different. I think KT's like second if it was best-of-1s.
Man.
Because remember, they won every game 1 and then lost series? And you know so that's why they're not winning?
This is so interesting, too, because I wonder how much it would affect other regions as well.
Well, I mean, we know that the LPL is already a disaster. We don't know what's happening there with their league, which is the longest in the world.
I know what some people from NA and EU would think is that it's already best of one, duh. But what I'm trying to say is that what if the team that lost the game could have brought it back 2-0?
Yeah.
And
No,
then
exactly.
ended up winning the series.
I mean, that's the point, and that's already been proven to drastically change what the standings look like as well.
Within the LCK.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and I think that it puts a lot more weight on the games themselves.
I think there's some competitive integrity issues as well when you've got the first round robin based on side selection being played as best of 3. And so you get, blue, red, blue, for example, and maybe you're a blue side team, maybe you're a red side team, and then it comes into the second round robin, and instead of having that buffer, you don't get it. So
we are back in the game. So we had a wireless mouse issue.
Yeah, that was what the issue was. So a little bit of lag based on the mouse. I think maybe we've plugged it in, something like that. Some pretty high-tech strategies as we've journeyed to see what Ash Ketchum can do against the evil forces of Team Rocket here in SANDBOX versus Gen.G. Root down here, walking on top of a ward. We'll have his bear buddy, Yogi, coming through.
That skin sort of looks like Jesse.
Oh, it does a little bit.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, maybe Jesse defected.
Oh.
Or maybe James defected.
Maybe this is... Oh, you know what? It actually looks like Nurse Joy.
Oh, that's true. There we go.
Right?
And that is, Nurse Joy probably doesn't like Team Rocket very much.
And this is Regirock in mid lane.
Oh, yeah, true.
You see that?
Or is it Registeel?
It could be Regi. Yeah,
I think Registeel makes a little bit more sense, yeah.
Registeel makes a lot more sense. I'm glad that you saw that.
Yeah, you're welcome, you're welcome.
You noticed that really quickly.
I got you.
Yeah.
We don't have Officer Jenny. Officer Jenny just has elected to not be in this game, unless it's Rascal. Officer Jenny actually, we got some corrupt cops over on the side of Gen.G joining in with good old Team Rocket. And as far as being a Pokemon, who would Rek'Sai be? Oh, man. Dunsparce? Do you remember Dunsparce? The most useless Pokemon ever.
That could be one, for sure.
Depends how
really
well Clid plays.
Depicts it by any means. You know that Lee Sin is just like one of those side trainers on like Route 3. Yeah.
Or one of the guys in the fighting the fighting dojo that gives you like Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan.
He's in the fighting gym.
Maybe he's actually just Hitmonchan.
That could definitely be a thing.
Yeah.
Well,
he does kick a little bit too much, so maybe Hitmon top.
Giratina for Rek'Sai.
Oh yeah, do you call him Gyra? I always called him Giratina.
Really? Well,
Giratina is definitely a good one.
I have I do.
Was that a collective? Way. Was that a collective idea?
I always thought it was Gyra.
Yeah, well, I mean, we often have disagreements when it comes to pronunciation.
That is true.
As BDD going to get the speed up and doesn't find the Paddle Star there onto Fate, whose Titan's Wrath was popped but wasn't actually able to get off any of the damage or utilize the shield, unfortunately. As BDD currently ahead by just a little bit there in the mid lane, but otherwise everything is going A-OK. Ward here on the blue buff as Clid is going to move himself out of the way. But Q's not going to land, and the patience is there from Shelly. OnFleek just stealing that one away.
And that's a really big steal. Clid going to be down 2 camps right now. Everyone on the side of SANDBOX has map hacks, given they know exactly where Rek'Sai is, what camp she's done. And the way that it currently stands, I mean, not a whole bunch of action is actually happening. Zoe with 1 Corrupting Potion left as Nautilus underneath the turret.
Yep, he has none of his Corrupting Potion stacks left and half of a health bar, so it's likely that Fate is going to be going back relatively early. And Clid going to be taking the Rift Scuttler there towards the top side. Of course, we know that Rek'Sai will be able to farm relatively effectively as BDD. Fair bit of damage there, proccing the bubble, but Fate was looking to go back anyway, but will miss out on a lot of farm as this wave crashes. And OnFleek has no intention of picking up that free experience in the mid lane, and will instead be walking towards a bottom lane where Gen.G are already playing very defensively. Not going to be blasting off at this stage as far as the bottom lane is concerned.
And Aurelia with a call on the first back, as well as the Doran's Blade.
Would we be calling that one a cheetah recall? Are we happy to pronounce it as one of those?
Sure, we can call it a cheetah recall. not on the traditional cheater recall timing. I believe it was done on wave 5. And nonetheless, though, going to be pretty valuable. You know, a lot of people, I believe the number is 156. I think that you need 156 AD for Duran's Blade to equal the healing of Cull on him.
Oh, really? Wow.
I believe that is the math. So the Cull and the Duran's Blade actually gives better sustain than just Duran's Blade.
Not bad.
But obviously missing some of the HP.
You can see B2D, pre-6 redemption. That's how you know a good Zoe player. If you RNG that, then that's just high skill. Showing that Zoe, just the champion herself, has deemed you worthy of being able to win the lane. B2D clears out the minions quite simply and will now just drift into darkness on this bottom side. A lot of vision control here for the Zoe. But a lot of pings coming in as Joker has rotated around. B2D, portal jump. It's a good Q to land onto B2D there, but the bubble had already registered onto OnFleek, so not a lot of damage. Vanguard's edge towards the top side is Lonely. Getting taken down very low. Rascal just bullying him out of this lane. Does have the teleport available, but will still miss out on a cannon creep, most likely. No, never mind.
Okay, so Lonely still didn't get level 6, which means Rascal is just trying to threaten and pressure him. His HP is a little bit too high for Rascal to try to all-in against.
Especially without ultimate, right?
Yeah. Now he's going to come over.
Luckily for Lonely, he is able to actually pick up all the experience, at least, in that wave. As B2D now gets himself the bubble onto Fate. He's going to flash, but Clint still gets the knock-up. 100 health, flash forward there as the dredge line is going to come down. Fate does eventually go as Clid looks for another knock-up. Now OnFleek in trouble as B2D is ghosting around, picks up another flash. Every time these summoner spells come in, it is brilliant for B2D, who's still running through, grabbing whatever he needs. Doesn't have his own flashes. There's a flash forward from Lonely to try and get the kill, but that is a 2-1-0 B2D, and he's still very happy.
Zoe.
Just Zoe things, guys. Keeping track of which is his actual summoner spells and which wasn't in that last particular exchange was extraordinarily difficult.
I mean, Zoe was just moving fast. It was almost like she moved through time.
Yeah, well.
Like
she's taken Echo's job, I think, at this stage.
She managed to move.
I mean, what was Fate even doing?
She was just living so many years in the future.
Yeah.
Is all that's happening here as BDD comes in, ends up killing Fate, and yeah, the question is, what is he doing? As Clid did end up using his flash, but didn't matter in the end. Teleport obviously came in from Lonely. Good smite by OnFleek. Trying to just get as much HP, live as much as he can. Root ended up coming over, did have the wave that was crashed down there in bot lane.
Yep. I think BDD got 3 flashes in that last fight. Used his own heal. I thought it looked like a ghost, but it wasn't, as no one actually has ghosts, so it's going to be pretty difficult to pick that one up outside of a minion wave. As we have now gone back to just regular laning. 1,200 gold the lead here for Gen.G after that particular exchange. And we look down towards the bottom side, and actually Ruler and Life are now ahead in farm. It was Root and Joker actually doing pretty well in that regard earlier on, but has since turned around. BF Sword, the first back for the Misfortune, as he's just going to go for another one, I believe, as he just clears out the minion wave with his ultimate. Not going to change anything as far as Ruler and Life, though, so not exactly the best. All right, Rascal looking for a little bit of an engagement, but Lonely trading back very nicely there with the Flame Spitter. Flawless Duet doesn't really get any capitalization out of the Aurelia.
Now, Rascal is up a bit in the CS department. Also, you can chalk a bit more CS onto him as well, given that the Cull is 52 complete. Should be able to finish that Cull up very shortly as well. A couple more minion waves to go. Seeker's Arm Guard on the Rumble, making it a bit difficult for the Aurelia to find solo kills. And also Merc Treads picked up first, just for that Matic resistance. And just a very defensive, controlled kind of play happening out of Aurelia here in top lane.
The thing that's really scary for SANDBOX is that they still have to be the ones on the front foot, because Gen.G's composition is just going to get better and better in comparison to theirs as this game goes on. And the most dangerous time will be around that 20-minute mark where you've got Ezreal sitting in the mid lane, able to perpetually control it with B2D, throwing out bubbles and being able to fish for any sort of engagement that Gen.G are looking for. In the meantime, Rascal is in a side lane, not being able to be moved because he's just a superior split pusher to anything that SANDBOX has to offer. Pretty dangerous stuff here if you are a SANDBOX fan. But they will still have some mid-game control with the Rumble and the Misfortune ult combination. If they can get around an objective and force a fight before they get poked out by the Ezreal and the Yuumi plus the Zoe. Team Rocket pretty good at just avoiding a fight and winning it before it even happens. Saw it yesterday. It was actually pretty awful to deal with.
And with the second dragon coming up being Mountain, there is the chance that we get a pretty awful dragon, which is Cloud.
Yep. Cloud Soul, not the greatest.
It really needs to get buffed. It needs something to be changed. I was told by, when I was streaming yesterday, I believe someone told me that August had commented on Cloud Soul. Obviously, I can't confirm.
All right, weird kickback there on B2D as he does get the zoomies.
Oh!
As that is a great ultimate, taking down at least one there, but it's a trade of 1-for-1 as Ruler looking for Root, who's out of the fight right now. Rascal dives into the backline and is unable to get anything, maybe a little bit overly aggressive. As now Life giving Ruler up for the Ghost by the looks of things, and he's going to be taken down as well. SANDBOX find themselves the team fight that they're looking for and the gold lead at the same time.
Rascal whipping mechanically inside of that fight, but also the question just being, why did Gen.G opt into that fight in the manner that they did? Really surprising.
Yeah, we weren't expecting something like that to happen there. But biting off a little bit more than they can chew. As you saw B2D, like,
I have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea. I don't think he does either. As eventually Zoe ultimate comes out, Rek'Sai as well. Teleport brought in by Rascal, flash ultimate, and then just whiffs mechanically, doesn't get the stun onto On Fleek.
I mean, the rest of the team was looking for Root in the backline, unable to actually do that at all and get any damage. And in the meantime, SANDBOX had all grouped up and murdered the Aurelia. Unfortunate stuff there from Gen.G, and not exactly the expected level of communication for this squad, who have seemed completely on the same page as this game goes on. But as we were talking about, when it comes to SANDBOX's composition, that's exactly what they needed to achieve. And now Lonely is huge. He's 2-0-2 on the Rumble after dealing with quite a difficult laning phase, as you can see, as far as the CS numbers. 18 CS advantage for Rascal with a cull about to be cashed in.
45 seconds until the Mountain Dragons picked up. Almost Leandri's Torment completed. For Rumble, up in top lane.
Yep, has that on top of the fully stacked by now, I would assume, Seeker's Arm Guard that he'd already done before. So pretty powerful Rumble. Moving into the next dragon fight in 20 seconds. Does have teleport available. Does have equalizer up as well, as SANDBOX looking to secure vision around this area. B2D has picked himself up a barrier. As Ruler clearing out vision with Life by his side. But 3 members down here. Gen.G just looking to try and retain some control of the bottom side of the map. That looks quite difficult to do at the moment, especially with Clit up here towards the top side, looking to steal away a blue buff.
And Mountain Drake is live. They're just going to give it over to SANDBOX.
Yeah, it's just going to be soloed out by On Fleek.
How much?
It's pretty good dragon here for SANDBOX.
You ready for the Cloud? Oh,
let's check it out. I'm waiting.
I'm rubbing my hands together right now. I'm so excited.
I mean, both of these teams desperately want an Infernal Drake. There it goes. The caster blessing of the Cloud Drake.
Atlas.
Yeah. Well, Lonely comes on down here. Clid gets a little bit of extra movement speed on his way out. And Lonely's going to get the bad news that, in fact, this jungle is relatively lonely. Oh, only one little Merkwolf there. And Lonely doesn't even put it out of its misery. As Joker wandering around looking for where his next attack is going to come from. You can see just based on moving back to a laning phase, Gen.G have re-attained the lead. Manamune, or Manamune, completed here for Ruler.
And I think that with the Dragon going down and only the second Rift Herald coming up soon, but all these turrets being so healthy, pretty much across the board, obviously mid is a little bit damaged, we're probably not going to see any action end up unfolding. And if we do, I think that it's just players opting into something that isn't really necessary. You have 4 minutes till Cloud Dragon ends up coming up, but even that isn't really a very big prize. So what is probably most ideal for Gen.G at this point is to just wait 10 minutes, continue getting items, and then let the Ezreal Zoe come online.
Yeah.
And then start trying to actively look to take teamfights. The Aurelia still very far away from Trinity Force, obviously stunted due to the Tiamat purchase.
The Cull has been cashed in, so at least that will be providing a bit of extra gold for Rascal. As, yeah, the Tiamat, not an always food for the Aurelia. It does certainly help her shove waves very effectively. Anti-freeze item. But we don't freeze here in the LCK.
No?
Not a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not what we do. As we're probably just waiting for a Trinity Force completion. As the bottom outer turret was taken by Gen.G. No, it wasn't actually. It's in fact still very, very healthy. We've just switched towards the top side. And we have Shirley to be thrown down. Sorry, Shirley. To be thrown down for On Fleek. The second Rift Herald, of course, going over to SANDBOX as well. As cleared, we'll just knock up Lonely here. As flawless duet. Not going to be so flawless, but does get an easy flash out of the Rumble.
Rift Herald being summoned in mid. Now taking away Zoe's mid-tier 1 turret is kind of nice.
But I think it's likely to turn into Ezreal's mid-turret, who is a little bit safer there, standing around in the mid lane. So not exactly the worst thing for Gen.G. But still, I mean, all of the map pressure that you can garner at this point in the game is fantastic for SANDBOX.
The thing about this is, at this point in the game, even though the gold score is totally even, obviously SANDBOX's Dragon is more valuable than Gen.G's.
Yep.
But all things considered, the nature of the team compositions, Gen.G is still ahead right now. So Lonely does get locked up right there. Rascal and Clid not going to be able to find the turret. Lots of jungle camps are up.
Yep. Lots of vision towards the top side as well for SANDBOX.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now. You have Lee Sin. He's building Black Cleaver against targets that actually don't build armor. So he's not really amplifying it for anyone except for Misfortune and the Volibear.
And Volibear does, if you're in a team fight, a lot of magic damage anyway.
Yeah,
because of his lightning claws.
So it's a bit of a build path here. Obviously, the other stats are just really valuable. Oblivion Orb picked up by BDD, even though we can probably assume that magic resistance will start being picked up by other champions in the later stages of the game, but he can just sit on that orb with the Sork Pen boots.
Yeah, I think it's actually good for mid-game damage. Out from the Zoe, we are at the point where having the double pen plus Ludens will be very, very strong for the Zoe. It will be a forbidden book pretty soon, though.
You already know.
Yeah, we know. You'll be getting out your camera to take a photo for Instagram pretty soon. But, you know, sometimes you can't win them all. You can't win them all. It's great against the Volibear passive. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It is. You know what? There you go. You're always looking at the glass. Like, yeah, it's not even half full to you. It's just the water that is.
Yeah. I actually envisage, even if the glass is entirely empty and dry, I envisage it just full of water.
Is that how you
Glistening
pronounce that?
spring water.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how optimistic I am. Almost naively so.
Whoa!
As BDD will find the bubble.
Yeah, gonna have to cleanse.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage comes down as well, does a fair bit of damage there to Lonely. And the Equalizer is used just to clear out a wave. You can feel the pressure that Gen.G are still amounting, and they don't have a gold lead. They just have a comp lead at this stage of the game. Q is going to land. Still, I mean, if you can hard engage as the SANDBOX composition with Equalizer available, then it is still going to be an opportunity, but you can't let this happen. You can't let your team members get locked down as there's the last chapter. The kickback isn't great, though. as the ultimate does come through from Clid. He flashes to get himself out of the way as now BDD looking to try and get some damage down as Rascal finds the Vanguard's edge, and Lonely, he's slowed down to high heaven, and in the meantime, Gen.G have the man advantage elsewhere on this map as well as we cruise down, and the Prey Seeker is going to find the Lee Sin, and now Root absolutely nowhere to go. Oh dear, Make It Rain comes through. This is a relatively weak turret that should be super diveable here by the Gen.G squad. And yeah, Prowling Projectile will be able to lock this one down. Root's running pretty fast, but yeah, there's going to be the Blade Surge, and that is going to be the final kill. I believe Joker did die at the start of that one, so an unofficial ace here for Gen.G.
And so Gen.G now with that victory, picking up the Cloud Drake. It's not the most impactful dragon, but if they do get to the Soul, it is really nice on Rek'Sai. It is really nice on Aurelia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those champions all will make a lot of use of it if they get there. So, not the best kick in the world. Rascal getting on to Joker, eventually bringing him down with the assistance of Yuumi. Interestingly enough, actually led him back over to Lonely on the left-hand side. So that was a really bizarre decision by Joker on the Volibear. The other members just ended up getting picked up, and you know, this is sort of where the meta is gravitating towards. It's the old bread and butter of Ezreal Zoe, along with Yuumi. So,
and we're seeing exactly how it works as well. It works exactly how it used to, which is you win an initial fight and then your cleanup. So the likelihood of actually getting an ace and not allowing the opposition to disengage is super high with Ezreal Yuumi, because their chase potential is just ridiculous.
Yes, they really flourish when both teams are exhausted.
Yeah.
So, after ultimates are down, summoner spells are down, cooldowns present on certain champions.
And this is exactly the comp on SANDBOX's side that relies on having an R button, right? Because as soon as all the R buttons are gone, like, these champions are not the same.
Yeah.
Apart from Joker, of course, because, yeah, Volibear Ultimate's a bit of a meme.
Well, we'll see what else ends up happening here. It just really looks like this game is completely over. Gen.G, they're up about 4,000 gold now. They have a vastly... Oh, hold on, I gotta get...
Yeah, you need to take the photo.
Yeah,
I told you to, but I think you may have
I'm sorry.
Focusing elsewhere.
It's okay, I mean, like... Yeah, that's another Morello.
Yep. Here we go. Clid gonna burrow over. We're looking for on-fleek here as Tremor Sense is gonna spot him out. Prowling Projectile is good. There's a fair bit of damage coming through with that Redemption that, of course, BDD picked up for himself. You saw the Summon Airy being utilized. No Redemptions collected by the rest of the team. As, yeah, Root's in mid lane just trying to farm himself up. He's ahead in farm by 1, but the Power Spike are the 2 items that Ruler has, especially as the Muramana has been completed. Very, very powerful. Do you know where the, like, you know how Manamune and Muramana takes on the Masamune and the Muramasa, which are, I think, like, famous swords from Japanese culture, but I'm not actually entirely sure. A lot of people think it's from Final Fantasy, but it's in so many different RPGs as well that I figure it must come from somewhere, like a mythological thing. We need to figure out where it is. There was someone that was talking about it on Twitter yesterday, and I was a little bit interested. Not interested enough to actually research anything. I just wanted to talk to you about it on the broadcast.
Well, I am trying to figure out what it might be from, and I can't come up with anything, Alice. Well, so you know, I'll leave that to you right now.
Yeah, you go on a spiel about this game that's over.
Zoe's bubble goes wide, and we're just basically waiting until third item completion.
Cool. So Masamune is widely recognized as Japan's greatest swordsmith.
Oh, that's his surname?
Yeah, that's his surname.
Or his nickname? That sounds like a very...
That's really cool.
All right.
I wonder whether the Muramasa has... yeah,
Alice, don't even check out the collective right now. I feel like honestly you'd be getting Bob Ross right now. That's very interesting.
Oh, really?
You know that?
I hope so. I absolutely hope so.
I feel like that's probably.
So it is a Japanese legend. It's not something that's purely from Final Fantasy or Golden Sun, which is where I first saw it, as you have now made the Bob Ross appear in the collective's mind. As there's a flash forward from Joker. We have been brought out of the lull state here as immediately the Rek'Sai is taken down, but this is likely to be where Gen.G can flourish. That being said, it is going to get burnt down. Great double kill coming through here as B2D picking up flashes left, right, and center. Rascal trying to chase down Lonely. They should be able to grab this kill as Joker and Fate still alive also, but Lonely not so lucky. Backs are going to come in, but it is still a win for Gen.G despite only having 2 members still alive. They will retain map control.
And they should still be able to pick up the Cloud Dragon. Rascal also going to steal away the red buffs. Let's take a look at how this all transpired. On Fleet coming in there on Joker, managed to get the cancel onto Clid, and that's why this fight was as much of a hot mess as it was. Ruler ended up killing Root before being locked up, bringing Meowth with him.
That's completely, that saved the fight for Gen.G.
Yeah, it really
The fact
did.
that Root did fall down meant the consistent damage after the R buttons were left. Is certainly able to do it. B2D missing a bunch of skills there, trolled by a stopwatch. That is all right. We will forgive him for that. 4,000 gold. Still the lead here for Gen.G. Still ultimately in control and have now augmented their Drake count with a Cloud Drake. Bit of a luxury one, but not able to take down their second just yet to threaten that Cloud Soul as another bubble is going to land. Remember, still in the stage of the game where Zoe is so impactful. And also, B2D continues to retain a 100% win rate after 6 games on Zoe. So this is certainly a key pickup for him. True Shot Barrage over a couple of members of SANDBOX just to soften them up. They're unable to actually stop this Cloud Drake. As there's the dredge line to land onto Clid. Good bullet time into the back line as well. Doing so much damage. Rek'Sai and Yuumi already taken down, but look at B2D. Look at Ruler. They're going to be the ones that are important in this fight as Vanguard's Edge destroys the Volley Bear, and in goes Rascal into the back line, able to get the double kill. Can he actually do it? The answer's no, but Ruler might be able to clean this one up. He's looking for Fate for the easy kill, but it's a good max-range dredge line to get himself out of the way. Mystic Shot's going to go wide, but he still should be falling down here.
Yeah, he
will be able to dive on top of him, and yeah, he's running in slightly the wrong direction.
Ooh.
As Ruler just arcane shifts to get over to the top, but he does manage to keep alive his 80 carry and top laner.
So
messy fights, though.
Yeah, these are extremely messy fights. As the Zoe bubble doesn't really have a purpose. Clid just honestly getting caught over and over and over in this game. I think most of these fights have actually been 4v5 on the side of Gen.G. They end up winning this one. Yuumi died for Clid's sins as well. Aurelia able to stay alive and just do enough damage to allow the Ezreal and Zoe to just sort of keep taking over the fights. And unlike Team Rocket from the anime series, this one actually wins.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading about
Go ahead.
Masamune and
Yeah.
Muramasa.
Yeah, tell me more.
Once again. So apparently this was an apprentice and master of sword smithery, and they had a competition to see who could make the best sword. So they're not actually swords at all.
Oh,
they're actually people.
All right.
And that's what the Manamune and Muramana are based on.
Some of the old historic Japanese swords are actually worth insane amounts of money.
Of course they would.
If you can find them or...
And also they're collector's items that really do appeal to a lot of people as well. They want to have like swords on display. And all that cool stuff. I remember when I was a kid, I actually I bought when I was in China traveling when I was 19. I came home with a little mini katana, which I felt really cool about having. It was really janky. It wasn't very good stuff at all. I think I was pretty taken advantage of by the guy at the knick-knack store.
Dude.
Yeah.
I used to,
classic.
oh man. There used to be like festivals hosted in my home state, usually like twice a year. And you could just tell those shops were scamming you.
Oh yeah, straight up, dude. Straight up.
They would sell you like
little pocket knives that look really cool and stuff.
A plastic chain or like a plastic necklace that has like a plastic diamond in it or something. They slap a $50 price tag on it.
It must be good if it's worth that much, right? No, that's not how that works, guys. Don't get scammed. Move to a continued 4,000 gold lead here as Gen.G. Haven't been able to extend it so much. We've got a Banshee's Veil completion for BDD though, and Blade of the Ruin King is done for Ruler. But 3 items are en route as well. He's got his rapid fire cannon to augment his first 2 items also, as Rascal will find Lonely, but is just going to hold on to that information as he moves on back into the jungle and out of vision.
And not much.
I think we're just waiting for Cloud Soul on Gen.G's side.
Yeah, I think that is all they're waiting for. They have the 3rd items completed. Blade of the Ruin King picked up by Ezreal.
It's a really big rumble though. He just completed his Rabadon's Death Cap. He is very, very strong. Avoid stuff next, and he will be doing maximum 4 item damage.
Yeah.
And with the Zhonya's for the extra defensive capabilities. Rascal was thinking about a back, but instead just going to clear out this minion wave.
Actually a little surprised Aurelia's not getting Wit's End in this game.
Yeah, would be strong.
Be very nice against a lot of the targets that she is trying to stay on top of.
And also will allow that Ionian Fervor to stack a little bit faster also. BDD getting towards the mid lane, wanting to keep this shoved in 20 seconds until the Cloud Drake is back on. And you can see Gen.G do have a lot of extra map control. Still, inner turrets still stand for both teams. Spate taking a fair bit of damage from BDD. He's got a Proto Belt activated as well. This is the Gen.G poke potential that they do have available to themselves. The Rumble, realizing the pressure, will teleport into the mid lane as Rascal looking at a flank opportunity with his Vanguard's Edge at the ready. And it might be SANDBOX actually looking to try and trade this Cloud Soul for the Baron buff. But Gen.G do not need to invest anyone else. They have started off the Baron.
And this is really, really trolly.
Yeah, Trishop
will
spot this
here.
one off completely. And SANDBOX, I mean, they can't let their health bars go this low. The threshold for a Zoe one-shot is way higher than in a lot of other compositions where you don't need to worry about something like that.
They're going to want to make sure that they stay at 100% and not 98.
Yeah.
In order to avoid...
You gotta eat that honey fruit, otherwise you could just die. As Joker, speaking of dying, is just going to get taken out here, but last chapter is not going to be too effective. Rascal going to follow him up there, and Joker will survive in the end. BDD looking to jump on over and try and get the kill, but somehow the Volley Bear survived. Cue the Yakety Sax.
And honestly, a very slow paced kind of game happening right now. Aurelia going Guardian Angel, 4th item.
Yep.
I do believe that Rek'Sai going Guardian Angel, 4th item, most likely as well. Although...
I think Adaptive Helm.
Yeah, it looks like Adaptive Helm is actually coming in next because the Null Magic Mantle with the Spectre's Cowl. But
I think I'd like to see Gen.G try and force a fight a little bit earlier though, so they can use those stopwatches and then
complete
get
into the enemies, yes.
Yeah, the Guardian Angel, otherwise it's 600 gold spent for no reason. Apart from getting towards the recipe. Lid moving up towards the top side though, will spot out this control ward. As does Yuumi have vision when she's inside Rek'Sai?
What?
So does Yumi's vision range apply when she's inside Rek'Sai, or do you have to rely on the Rek'Sai vision range?
I have never played either, so I do not know.
I actually haven't experimented with that particular interaction before. I assume you get to borrow Yumi's vision range.
Yeah.
Because she's still there. It's not like she's unable to see when you're doing your U and B type stuff.
I wonder if Rek'Sai actually has to work harder when digging the tunnel in order to make sure that they don't collapse on top of Yuumi.
Ooh, maybe. Or maybe Meowth actually helps out.
Maybe Rek'Sai just actually
Maybe you tunnel a little bit faster.
Oh.
With Yumi's help.
That could possibly be it.
That'd be cool if like it was like 0.002 like seconds faster or something like that. One of those Easter eggs like we used to have in League of Legends.
Yeah.
Like Leona would do a little bit less damage to champions with sunglasses on.
Oh, that's right. 1 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ninjas would do 1 extra damage if there was no other ninjas in the game.
Yes.
Which was super cool also, as Lonely taking a hell of a lot of damage there from Ruler. Oh, looking for Root, who just got chunked out of this fight entirely. We were talking about Lonely hitting that Void Stuff power spike. He's so close to getting it. Only a recipe completion away, but Gen.G feel like they've managed to chunk out their opponents enough. They've taken this Baron down to half health already.
Rascal with the Yuumi. This is going to be a big Vanguard's edge.
Well, we'll see whether Rascal can actually grab any kills just yet. He does find the Lee Sin. First off is cleared. It's going to go golden. Ruler doing the same thing as he flashes out of the way of Joker. But it is still SANDBOX winning this fight for now. Somehow, Root's able to get this one working as Fate has to go golden. Root's still at full health. He needs to get into this fight to try and save it for his team. And Rascal's just gigantic life is going to get in there, but not in time. A double kill already as Rascal finds the triple. Down to his GA, it's a 1v1. Root versus Rascal. Rascal doesn't want it though, he's flashing out of the way. It's going to be a 4-for-4 on both sides. All of these team fights have been so close.
And this is also, okay, regardless of how Gen.G is choosing to take these fights, I do want to point out, the only Dragon Soul that would ever allow SANDBOX to win this fight is the Cloud Soul.
Yeah.
Any other Dragon Soul, and it's such a stomp. And if more of these team fights continue in pro play, Riot really does need to just look at this and evaluate the discrepancy between this one and the others in terms of the objective. Now, Joker...
Equalizer was fantastic as well.
So, Ezreal and Zoe, the two centerpieces of the team, just completely left alone by everyone else, as Clid, he's really been the MVP for SANDBOX this game. he's really been putting in work.
Oh, BDD also just crit to death by this 4-item Misfortune who managed to keep her distance, play it safe. Oh man, it's close to Rascal being able to actually win that 1v1, but not actually going to attempt for it at all. Didn't have the lifesteal in the kit, and didn't, of course, because he was still coming back to life after the GA, was unable to utilize a lot of that Ionian fervor that he had built up throughout the rest of the fight. As we have a look at the damage, and it was not a lot coming out of Ruler. You don't often see numbers like that from an Ezreal, as he was dealt with very, very early on. So look to see whether Ruler is able to actually get more work done as we move into the next round of team fights, because he now has double lifesteal.
And remember, when the Rek'Sai came in on R4, we mentioned straight from the get-go, why would you pick it into all of these champions that SANDBOX had already shown? And it's being picked simply in isolation for early game potency or something, some other gibberish that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But it's not doing anything inside of this game, but then also Clid has been consistently getting caught out, and it's making it so that SANDBOX is staying alive a lot longer than they should.
There's the final chapter that comes forward. Oh, the bullet time just eviscerates the Ezreal. BDD's going to have to run away. Thankfully for life, he's able to tag on to BDD. And now, without their AD carry, Ruler does have teleport in 45 seconds when he does respawn. But at 37 minutes into this game, these death timers are so long. And the Elder Drake is live. SANDBOX just able to move over to it.
And if SANDBOX actually get this Elder Dragon, this is disastrous for Gen.G. Clid, I have no idea why he would ever approach at the angle.
He's trying to make it a 50-50, gets into the pit, but he's actually unable to lock this one down. Easy kill onto the Rek'Sai's Vanguard's edge. Into the backline is doing a lot of work. Oh my god, Rascal survives for a long time, but then gives away 1,000 gold as BDD not able to find the bubble onto anyone. The flawless duet was great onto 4 people, but unfortunately Rascal just, wasn't a lot that he was able to actually accomplish there.
Wait, the game might be over.
Yeah, and SANDBOX with the B team, able to run through and really give it to Gen.G with a composition that they really like running. Still, it's not over yet, as Ruler has respawned. Clid has another 15 seconds before he's back up. Teleport at the ready, for Rascal when he's going to get back in here. But SANDBOX, still with 5 members, will head over to this Baron. And Equalizer's available, Bullet Time's available, Dragon Rage is available, everything is up for SANDBOX. And Joker's able to play defense as they've got double big buffs.
So let's
have a look at this again,
What is Ruler doing? Compelled by a cosmic force to run up and hit the minion wave, and then honestly, I have no idea what Clid's doing. Absolutely zero. I don't even want to try to get into his mind. I feel like something might happen.
Yeah, don't get infected. That's why you're wearing the gloves.
All right. Let's go mid, let's go mid, let's go mid.
And a lot of nice. Joker, certainly a emotional powerhouse for this SANDBOX roster. Maybe it was what they were missing this entire time. He doesn't have an awful win rate so far in the games that he has actually played. He's having a look. No, actually he does. He's won 1 game out of the 4.
Well, as long as Gen.G doesn't take a team fight against the Elder, they'll be fine in resisting the Baron, even though they don't have a lot of wave clear. They have so much counter poke.
Yeah.
They should be able to hang on.
Oh, we've got 6 items on Rascal. I think this Aurelia really needs to get some work done in the coming minutes. See BDD also trying to land some of these bubbles, but it's very aggressive from SANDBOX. Equalizer does basically nothing though, and the bubble is going to register. Lands onto the Lee Sin. Good safeguard from OnFleek to get himself out of the way as we've got a very deep
Elder
teleport.
Is 15 seconds until it's over.
Probably want to wait for that one. As
no, man.
Oh, dearie me. Okay. Well, Rascal just going to throw his life away into this SANDBOX roster. They're still trying to fight this as he will respawn, but it's not enough. Bullet time goes into the sky in celebration of their kill of the top laner. And Rascal is so much of the power of Gen.G. I don't know what he is doing.
I can't make sense of it, Atlas. I really can't.
Yeah, well, you're not going to hear much from me either. I know my cup is perpetually full. I don't know what it's full of anymore. Come on, analyst, analyze.
Okay, things happen. Champions hit each other. A death occurred, and now they're using the recall button.
All right.
So they can go back to the fountain in order to spend their gold. Now take a look at this. They teleported all the way because they want to make the flank. The problem is they should never in a million years be thinking this is a great time to fight. When the opponents still have Elder Dragon buff persisting, as well as the fight is going to take place inside of a minion wave, which means that there's more added buffer against the Ezreal and Zoe. Just a million things going wrong. Gen.G are looking so off this game.
And
they
Rascal
have such a massive edge.
Rascal just sold his GA and bought a QSS instead, so that's a few battle stats that he's now missing out on. But will at least not get hard CC'd in the next fight. Total gold for Root, gigantic. He's got 6 items, no boots. Which is, scary to say the least. The luxury Phantom Dancer coming in there for, I believe, 100% crit at this point in time. Having a look down, you can't actually see it in the stats, but 2.0 attack speed when he presses that W button is real scary. And over 400 attack power. It's okay. We'll see whether Gen.G can actually pull this one together. They're a squad that is known to generally play well in the late game, but if they keep up the decision-making that they've been doing, this is just going to be a SANDBOX win. There is no other way to put it. Ruler very close to hitting his 6th item.
Cool. And again, the team composition, it's all about Ezreal Zoe. So rather than going for these very bizarre, wonky engages with the Rek'Sai and the Aurelia, if they just play frontline duty and let Ezreal Zoe constantly try to pick off and then provide openings for them, it would be a lot better. 15 seconds until Elder. It's going to come down to this final fight.
Yeah, we do have the minion wave in the bot lane being dealt with by Rascal. Of course, Aurelia is going to have no worries dealing with that one, but 4 seconds, Elder Drake just being defended here by SANDBOX is cleared. With Tremor Sense available, he's going to know where all of the SANDBOX members are, but he's going in very aggressively onto OnFleek. He's going to be able to get out of there as Joker, right in amongst it, but the final chapter is going to come through and Rascal going to lock down the kill. anything you can do, I can do better, is what SANDBOX is saying when it comes to throwing this match.
This should be an Elder converted into a Baron.
Should be, as Bubble's going to lock down the Nautilus. True Shot Barrage as well, over 3 members. And Clid once again going for another engagement. He still has Flash available as Gen.G have them exactly where they want them. On Fleek, what are we doing? We're separated from the team as he's now in the Baron pit. Ruler not able to find too much, but the kickback onto Clid. He tunnels through. Prey Seeker is going to find as there is another team fight happening towards the top side as Rascal soaks an entire bullet time and still has the zoomies up there as well. Dredgeline is going to go wide as the Vanguard's edge, going to get flashed out of by Root, but still Rascal is going to be able to follow him through. SANDBOX are going to melt at the hands of Gen.G, who finally find the team fight that they were looking for.
Now, there's no minion wave, though. So, at the end of this, Gen.G will get both the Baron and the Elder, but they lost a Nexus turret, and that is very scary if a minion wave is ever in close proximity. Anfleet fails to get the mid-tier 3 turret.
Yeah, Baron is going to be taken first, as now, as you can see, exactly what you were talking about, LS. SANDBOX are over here. They're going to be able to get the permanent vision of this Rift Scuttler, at least for the next few minutes.
Gotta be careful!
Yeah, there's the final chapter. Good kickback once again as his cooldown reduction is relatively low right now, but not low enough as the Blast Cone is going to troll Clid completely, but it doesn't matter. He tunnels back through and he's able to lock down the jungler, and that should guarantee this Elder Drake. My god, the ping pong of this game has been insane, but it's been super intense. And this is where it all started. I thought this was potentially an in.
Now, amazingly enough, this is the one time that Gen.G were forced to actually play front to back.
Yeah.
Ended up being rewarding for them as the Zoe and Ezreal, this is where they flourish in these very wide open teamfight scenarios where they're allowed to utilize
but also in
their mobility.
And in man disadvantages, right? As soon as that first kill comes down, the follow-through of the Ezreal Zoe is so strong. And unfortunately, none of the key targets were actually able to be hit by the bullet time. Root has so much on his shoulders right now, reminding him of all of his times on Jin Air in 2019. But as we go back to live, this is Gen.G breaking open the bottom side of the base.
We're going to have one last stand.
Yeah, Depth Charge going to come through here from Fate. True Shot Barrage is going to make sure that he dies. The last auto attack from Ruler is enough to lock that one down. As now Rascal, he's going to QSS. The double kill comes in from the Ezreal as the final chapter does nothing, but it doesn't need to. Gen.G will get rid of the last Nexus turret, and Ruler is able to just get over the top of this team. Lonely goes golden, but he's not the golden boy at this stage, as that's the pentakill for Ruler to end this one, and Gen.G, after a sloppy match, are able to pull it all back. And who the heck do you give the player of the game to?
So this is really hard. So everyone actually had an int moment. BDD had an int moment in mid when he tried to walk back into the mid-tier 1 turret, got caught.
Yeah, Rascal's teleport.
Rascal's teleport was an int moment, but Rascal was really key in helping them a lot throughout the game. Ezreal also had a very big int moment. So he got a pentakill though, so you know that the Korean desk, the observers, the media, they're all going to Ruler. So,
but also you look at the scoreline of Rascal, so maybe that one's an obvious one at the same time. Like, I don't even know, man.
I think it's BDD because he was a key part in stabilizing the early game, as well as just showing up a lot. Rascal did a phenomenal job in laning phase. No matter what, to me, it's either BDD or Rascal.
Yeah,
I know that Ruler's going to get it. I know
want
Ruler's going to get it.
Probably. But let's spread the love, okay? Because honestly, if this is a unanimous decision, then that doesn't tell the story of the game at all.
He made too many emotional plays for me to give it. I'm going to give it to BDD.
Okay.
And we're both going to lose. We're both going to be made fun of.
Yeah,
It's okay.
That's all right. I'm used to it. I'm used to it now.
Fine.
I've been that one guy too many times.
It's 7 out of 9. You don't even need to wait for the text to come up. You don't even need to wait.
Well, we haven't even had our votes taken, so the guy's standing over there off camera.
Yeah, look, he didn't take the paper.
He actually looked over and he saw the ticks and he was like, "I'm not even reporting this. In fact, I'm reporting these two to the authorities because they're not allowed to vote so stupid."
We're not allowed to the ship.
No, we have been kicked off the ship. But honestly, like, that was so messy from Gen.G.
Yeah.
Throughout that mid-game where they should have had so much power, they were just playing sloppy League of Legends. I think a lot of it had to do with them
Well, the Rek'Sai pick was terrible.
not being too serious about how this one worked out. But yeah, maybe it was to do with the Rek'Sai pick. Not a lot of options here for Clit, as the Olaf and J4, the perfect picks, were banned away. Great bans from SANDBOX, but there were still a few other choices on the table. We would have hated Elise just about as much.
I mean, Gragas isn't... I mean, he wasn't banned, and he was open as well.
Oh, actually suits the composition beautifully as
Gragas
well.
is just so much better in this
Clit.
spot, especially because it disrupts the MF. So the Rek'Sai pick just doesn't make any sense. In a complete vacuum, it makes sense against the Lee Sin in particular, and for the nonsense reason of, like, you need some sort of early game pressure. Your laners and you play correctly, you don't need something like that that's just talk that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
So it didn't do anything at certain points in the game, and then you could see that it ended up becoming a detriment to the team composition. They ended up winning, though, in that one fight to the left of their wolf camp, getting the pick off, eventually converting into almost ace.
I feel like they got serious towards the end, but we need them to stay serious throughout the entire game. We'll see whether they can do it in Game 2 after the break.
리퍼 노플이야. 처음부터 얘네가 들어올 거야.
알겠어.
빠지고 한 번 더.
한번 빼.
한 번 빠지고.
이상한 앞에부터 라인부터 지워. 물리지 마봐.
물려.
어디 이거
할만해.
한번 빼고. 기다려봐 이거. 얘들아 라인부터 사부터.
얘네가 들어올 거야.
타워 끝나겠어. 타워. 잡아.
리퍼 노플.
앞에 타워겠네.
나이스.
뺐다. 멀티다.